Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mindset Forge, a podcast where we discuss the best ideas of humanity, the most useful practices, and the most skillful means for developing a more well-adjusted and adaptive mindset. To do this, I will be discussing latest science, ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time, as well as the thoughts and actions of important historical paragons. The goal is to give you tools and practices and ideas for your self-improvement, with the goal of moving ahead the entire humanity. Our discussion will focus on the ideas and practices with the most cash value, so practices that are easy to take up but hold enormous potential. And since most of these practices have to do with changing your thinking and attitudes, they are completely free. Call me Laurent Lohel, I will be your host, and welcome aboard. Also, make sure to like Mindset Forge on Spotify and YouTube, as well as check out our Discord server, where you can find links to my book, which you can buy on Amazon to support my another side enterprise of being a fiction author. Without further ado, let's get to the episode. Mindset Forge, episode 15, goals and fulfilling them without even trying. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. Friedrich Nietzsche. Hello, Mindset Forge listeners, and welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, and today we'll delve into the territory of goals, ambitions, and how to reach them. Today we'll explore the distinction and consequences of intrinsic and extrinsic goals, those that come from within us and those that are imposed by the external world. We'll discuss why understanding the difference matters and how this knowledge can impact our well-being, our sense of purpose, and our overall life satisfaction. Let's start with definitions. What are intrinsic goals and what are extrinsic goals? And this understanding is the foundation for everything that follows, so we'll be sure to cover this in detail. From there, we'll explore what science has to say about these types of goals. Are there benefits to pursuing one type of goal over the other? And can the type of goals we choose to pursue impact our mental and emotional health? And then we'll look at how these goals tie into our sense of purpose. How do our goals define us? And how does our sense of purpose influence the types of goals we set for ourselves? We'll also explore some strategies for setting meaningful goals based on the understanding that intrinsic goals are typically more fulfilling than extrinsic ones. How can we identify and pursue these types of goals? And then we'll look at the role of society and culture in shaping our goals. How does societal pressure and cultural expectation influence the goals we set? And how can we navigate these influences to choose goals that are truly meaningful to us? We will also discuss how certain Eastern philosophies take an entirely different outlook on goals, one that stresses the importance of effortless living and points out the negative impact of setting any goals at all. This is starkly at odds with our typical Western way of life, which idolizes being busy and always having some project to work on. However, this effortlessness or aimlessness does not mean that one lazes about all day. As we will discuss, one can accomplish just as much, but with none of the perceived effort. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Before we can fully delve into our discussion, it's crucial that we lay down a clear understanding of how key concepts intrinsic and extrinsic goals. What exactly are these? Why are they important and how do they influence us? Let's start with a solid foundation and work our way up. Intrinsic goals, as the name suggests, are inherently satisfying to pursue, and they are the goals that come from within, rooted in our most authentic selves. They align with our personal passions, our core values, and our deepest interests. For example, someone may set an intrinsic goal to read more books because they genuinely enjoy immersing themselves in different stories and ideas. Another person may have the goal of improving their physical fitness, not because they want to look a certain way, but because they value health and the feeling of strength in their own body. It's the journey that counts here, not just the destination. Now let's contrast this with extrinsic goals. These are goals that are driven by external rewards or pressures. They might include striving for a high-paying job, seeking approval or admiration from others, or aspiring to fit a certain societal standard or expectation. Take, for instance, someone who wants to attain a specific job title not because they love their work, but because they are after the prestige and status that comes with it. Consider the person who wants to fit into a smaller clothing size, driven by societal expectations of beauty rather than personal health or comfort. Now, it's essential to note that extrinsic goals are not inherently bad or good. Life often calls for a blend of both intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. However, it's the balance and the depth of our understanding of these goals that can shape our life experience in meaningful ways. Keep this definition in mind as we navigate through the nuances of intrinsic and extrinsic goals, their impact on our lives, and how we might strike a healthy balance between them. Moving forward, let's delve into what science has to say about intrinsic and extrinsic goals. Are there any distinct benefits of pursuing one type of goal over the other? Can our choice of goals genuinely impact our mental and emotional well-being? Let's first talk about intrinsic goals. A study found that people who place a higher value on intrinsic goals like personal growth, close relationships, and community involvement tend to be happier and experience fewer symptoms of depression. The benefits aren't just psychological either. These individuals also tend to exhibit better physical health. On the other hand, those who prioritize extrinsic goals like wealth, fame, and physical appearance may not fare as well. The same study found that people who are driven by these goals tend to experience more anxiety, depression, and other negative emotions. They also reported lower overall life satisfaction. For example, if you are primarily driven by the goal of becoming wealthy, you may experience stress over financial fluctuations, societal pressures to maintain a certain lifestyle, and a constant need to outdo others. However, if your primary goal is to form a meaningful relationship, the rewards, companionship, mutual support, emotional satisfaction can directly contribute to your overall sense of well-being and happiness. Similarly, another study indicated that college students who pursued extrinsic goals like financial success and popularity showed lesser well-being and more distress than those who pursued intrinsic goals like growth, community, and health. This does not mean extrinsic goals are inherently bad, though they can still provide a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. However, the science seems to suggest that leaning too heavily on extrinsic goals could potentially lead to a decreased sense of well-being. Therefore, it's essential to take a step back, re-evaluate our goals, and reflect on whether they align more with our inner values and passions, or if they are heavily influenced by external factors. By striking a healthy balance, we could enhance our life satisfaction and overall well-being. But it's important to remember that even if you identify your goals as extrinsic ones, it does not mean you have to or should change your actual behavior. For example, if your goal has been to get a promotion and you recognize you are driven just by the pursuit of prestige, you can still keep aiming for that promotion, but just consciously switch your goal from getting prestige into developing your skills, being more important for your workplace, thinking how you can help your new underlings, and so on. This, according to science, should bring you more satisfaction in the long run. After considering these types of goals and their impact on our well-being, let's turn to an even more profound aspect, our sense of purpose. How do our goals shape our identity, and in turn, how does our sense of purpose influence the types of goals we set? Our goals are not just tasks or milestones to be achieved, they are, in a way, the outward expression of our innermost values, desires, and priorities. They serve as markers for what we deem important in life. Therefore, our goals, whether intrinsic or extrinsic, provide others and even ourselves insights into who we are as individuals. Furthermore, the sense of purpose is a significant driving force in goal setting. Researchers found that a strong sense of purpose led to an increase in both physical and mental health and even longevity. In essence, a sense of purpose can fuel us, giving us the energy and determination to pursue our goals relentlessly. Now, how does this sense of purpose tie into the types of goals we set? Let's say you have a deep intrinsic passion for helping others. This sense of purpose may lead you to set goals related to a career in healthcare, social work, or education. On the other hand, if your purpose is tied to the pursuit of wealth or societal recognition, your goals may lean towards extrinsic ones, perhaps setting up your own business or aiming for a high-status job. But remember, there's no one-size-fits-all answer here. What's important is that our goals align with our personal sense of purpose and our values. For when our goals are in sync with our genuine desires, we are not only more likely to achieve them, but we are also likely to find the journey itself more fulfilling and enriching. So reflect on your goals. Do they echo your values and passions, or are they largely influenced by societal pressures or external influences? Remember, goals that resonate with your true self will not only drive you forward, but also bring about a sense of satisfaction and happiness, regardless of the outcome. As we navigate through this life, setting meaningful goals becomes a vital part of our journey. If we've understood that intrinsic goals often lead to more satisfaction than extrinsic ones, the question that arises then is, how do we identify and pursue these goals? One way is through self-reflection. This involves taking the time to ask yourself some probing questions. What truly matters to you? What activities make you lose track of time? What would you do even if you weren't paid for it? These questions can guide you towards identifying your intrinsic goals, the ones that ignite a spark within you. Pursuing these goals then becomes a matter of taking small, consistent steps towards them. It may be honing a skill, engaging in an activity you love, or building relationships. It's essential to remember that intrinsic goals are about the journey, not just the destination. Now, let's turn our attention to society and culture. The society and culture we live in can greatly influence the types of goals we set. The pressure to conform, to achieve certain societal milestones like a high-paying job, a house, or a particular societal status can sometimes lead us to set extrinsic goals. A study found that societal values significantly influence individual goals and aspirations, often leading to the pursuit of extrinsic goals. So, how do we navigate these societal and cultural influences? Again, it comes down to self-reflection and understanding what truly matters to you. When you have a clear understanding of your intrinsic goals, you are better equipped to resist societal pressures that may push you towards extrinsic goals that aren't in line with your true desires. It may not always be easy, and it may even involve swimming against the tide at times. But remember, at the end of the day, it's your life journey, and setting goals that are meaningful to you is a crucial step towards living a life that is not just successful, but also fulfilling and rich in personal satisfaction. One of the profound questions of human existence is, what is the meaning of life? It's a question that philosophers, scientists and thinkers have grappled with for centuries. Many, when thinking this question, read it as what needs to be accomplished in life, which makes it relevant for our discussion of goals. Recent scientific studies have shown that having a sense of purpose or meaning in life is linked to a variety of positive health outcomes. For example, a meta-analysis of studies revealed that having a high sense of purpose in life is associated with reduced risk of mortality and cardiovascular events. The field of positive psychology, spearheaded by Martin Seligman, also emphasizes the role of meaning in human well-being in his PERMA model, an acronym for positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. Meaning is identified as a key component of human flourishing. According to Seligman, meaning comes from serving something bigger than ourselves, such as family, country, or ideals. While we are discussing the importance of setting goals, especially those that are intrinsically meaningful to us, I want to emphasize an essential point. Although goals are crucial for providing direction and purpose, we must be wary of falling into the trap of thinking, I will be happy when I achieve my goal. This mindset can create a continual deferral of happiness to some future point that may or may not ever arrive. Instead, consider this. What if we could cultivate a sense of happiness, contentment and satisfaction right here and now, regardless of the progress we are making towards our goals? This is where the practices of mindfulness and gratitude come into play. Mindfulness, the practice of being fully present and engaged with whatever we are doing at the moment, allows us to savor the journey towards our goals. It teaches us to appreciate the process, the daily effort, the small steps that we are taking towards our ultimate goal. Gratitude, on the other hand, is the practice of recognizing and appreciating the good in our lives. When we pause to reflect on the things we are thankful for, it puts our lives and our goals into perspective. We can feel gratitude for the opportunity to work towards our goals, the resources and capabilities we have, the people supporting us, and even the challenges that help us grow. Another aspect to consider is compassion, considering how our goals can serve others. This can not only provide an additional layer of motivation, but also contributes to a sense of meaning and purpose in our lives. So, while it's healthy and beneficial to have goals, we should not stake our entire happiness on the achievement of these goals. Instead, cultivate happiness right here, right now. Engage fully in the process, practice gratitude for what you already have, and let compassion guide your actions. This is the path to a fulfilled life, a life where achieving a goal is the cherry on top of a cake, not the cake itself. Another thought relevant to our discussion of goals comes from the famous Chinese philosophical text Tao Te Ching. It has many profound thoughts expressed within, but one of them is how when we make a value judgment or set a goal, we at the same time create the opposite of that value. For example, if we judge something as beautiful, we have in the process created the concept of ugly things. Also, if we set a goal for ourselves, let's say we want to be recognized and important, we have then created in our minds the concept of unrecognized and unimportant. As we feel that we haven't reached our goal, we will feel ourselves to be unrecognized and unimportant. And if we care about this, it will be quite a negative experience. Furthermore, we should consider what our pursuits cause on our minds and emotions. For example, if we put value on money too much, we might even become thieves to get it. The solution offered by this text is to refrain from creating such value judgments and refraining from seeking glory, and instead just going with the natural flow of things, considering yourself just a small part of a natural process, just doing your job and not expecting anything more. According to the text, this will not only bring calm and happiness, but also societal benefit and surprisingly great honor and esteem from other people, the very thing one refrains from seeking. Also, by not trying to get fulfilled by a goal, one is never unfulfilled. At least one concrete thing I think we can all agree on from experience is that if we set a goal and feel we are very far away from it even when we work very hard, this can create unhappiness. This problem can be fixed with the process described by the Tao. When one accomplishes this, they reach their goals while feeling none of the exertion, as the whole process has felt that it has unfolded naturally on its own. For this, mindfulness is also necessary. To put this in other words, if reaching for your goals feels like swimming against the current of a stormy river, so difficult and taxing, taking the approach of Eastern philosophies like the way of Tao is like reaching your goals by letting the stream take you while you just comfortably float on the surface. For example, when I write my novels or work on this podcast, sometimes it causes me stress to think how far I am still from completing my book or from this podcast reaching the kind of audience that could actually benefit a large number of people. When I recognize these thoughts in my mind, I focus on different motivations, like how it excites me to see where my story will go in the book, or how interesting it is to do research for this podcast. This way, all the exertion seems to go away, and reaching my set goal for the day seems to happen naturally, without myself having to exert myself too much. As we draw our exploration to a close, let's revisit the key insights we've uncovered in our journey today. Firstly, we delved into the nuances of intrinsic and extrinsic goals, defining the former as those goals which originate from within us, and the latter as those which are externally imposed. We recognized the individual uniqueness of these goals and their profound implications on our lives. Then we ventured into the scientific studies that offered valuable insights into the consequences of aligning ourselves with intrinsic versus extrinsic goals. We learned that pursuing intrinsic goals such as personal growth or nurturing relationships tends to be more fulfilling and beneficial for our mental and emotional health. We also discovered that our sense of purpose can greatly influence the types of goals we set for ourselves. Purpose acts as a compass guiding our actions and decisions towards goals that resonate with our deepest values and beliefs. We discussed strategies for setting meaningful goals and emphasized the importance of being aware of societal pressures and cultural expectations. While they can be powerful influences it's crucial that we don't let them overshadow our authentic desires. We also touch upon the concepts of meaning and happiness in our lives. We learned that it's not the pursuit of happiness, but the pursuit of meaning that truly fulfills us. It's also crucial to remember that while goals are important, they are not the sole determinants of our happiness. We must not postpone our happiness to some undefined future, but rather cultivate it in the present moment with mindfulness, gratitude, and compassion. We also discussed a mindset in alignment with the Tao, whose realization allows us to reach our goals without exertion in a way that seems perfectly natural and effortless. Our journey today leads us to the realization that the destination is not all there is to our life's journey. It's about the climb, the process, and finding joy in the journey itself. Remember, you have the power to forge your own path, to set meaningful goals that resonate with your inner self, and to derive a sense of purpose and fulfillment from your daily endeavors. Thank you for joining me on this exploration today at Mindset Forge. Until next time, keep forging ahead and remember to cherish the journey as much as the destination. Goodbye for now. And thank you for listening to this episode of the Mindset Forge. I hope you found it informative and the lessons and practices spoken in it relevant to your situation. I also hope you found it as entertaining to listen as I found making it to be. If you found it beneficial, be sure to follow Mindset Forge on Spotify as well as on YouTube, where you can also give us a thumbs up. Also, make sure to check out our Discord server for further discussion, where you can contact me directly. Links in description and channel information. There you can also find the link to my book, which I have self-published on Amazon, called Death Drive. If speculative dystopian near-future sci-fi sounds like a cup of tea, getting the book is a great way to support my work as an author. So have a nice day and memento cerebrum formare.